Hi everyone, so welcome to the live stream today. Very much excited for having you. It's been a while since we came on a live stream, but hey, we were putting a couple of things into place to help you and to enable us to serve you much better. So we are back with our live stream sessions towards the ICA May 2021 examination. And I see some of you guys joining the live stream. Smash the like button when you join the live stream and put in the chat box where you are watching us from real quick, and then also let me know what you want us to cover on the live stream, some topics in various subjects. In that case, today we want to deal with management accounting. In the intro from last 2 weeks, we started with how to pass financial reporting. We discussed the various standards under the IFRS masterclass. We're going to be resuming that later on in the discussion, but we also want to spend some time to look at management accounting, because when it comes to management accounting also, there are some basic conventions and principles that we need to understand in order to position us strategically to pass the examination. And that is exactly what I want to share with you today in relation to the key issues that you have to understand, the key principles, the key concepts about management accounting and how to position yourself to pass the examination. So if you are joining the live stream, welcome. Comment in the chat box any questions that you have for me. Smash the like button when you join. I see some of you guys smashing the like button. Thank you very much. And also remember that we are in the third week of our lectures for the ICA May 2021 examination, and you can study directly under my mentorship for the ICA May 2021 examination at only 390 Ghana cedis per paper. So you can visit NhyiraPremium.com or look at the link in the description of this video or pin to the comment of this video, and you'll be able to go there, enroll in a course, and study directly under my mentorship for the examination. Right, so I see some comments coming in. Let's see if we can attend to them real quick. Uche Ijehu said, good evening, Nhyira. Good evening, Uche. I hope that you're doing well. And then hope you are doing well. Yes, I am doing well. Eric Boabin said, good evening, sir. Good evening, Eric. I hope that you are doing well. Please comment in the chat box any questions that you have for me, what you want me to share my thoughts on real quick as I share some thoughts with you today with relation to management accounting. So let's go straight. Let me share my screen with you and let's get going. So management accounting, Samuel Quasin, I see you on the live stream. Welcome. I hope that you are doing well. I am doing well, and I hope that you are also doing well, Samuel. Right, so when it comes to management accounting, a number of things that you need to understand in management accounting. It's very, very critical for you to understand the structure of the management accounting course. It's very important to understand. So you got to understand what the syllabus has, the syllabus structure. You got to understand the exam structure. And then you're going to understand also the basic principles and conventions that you must understand. This is very, very critical in that case. So you want to make sure that you understand the structure of the syllabus. You want to make sure that you understand the structure of the exams. You want to make sure that you understand the basic principles and the conventions that underline management accounting, because that is going to assist you in order for you to pass the examination. Now, straight up, when we go to try to look at the structure of the syllabus when it comes to management accounting that for the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, the syllabus, among other things, is divided into 6 key aspects that we need to know about. The A aspect has to do with contemporary issues in management accounting. The contemporary issues in management accounting. Now, those contemporary issues in management accounting looks at 2 broad things. Accountants, ethical issues for professional accountants. So ethics on one side, and then some modules of evaluation. Modules of evaluation. So the first aspect, now this is 15% per the syllabus grading. So a lot of the basic stuff. Now, when we are doing management accounting ICA level 2, the basic concept of management accounting is not in the syllabus. Now, so issues such as introduction to management accounting, issues such as cost classification, issues such as accounting for overhead, it's not in the syllabus directly. But you cannot write any management accounting exams without having the basic understanding of the introduction to management accounting. What is management accounting? What is the difference between cost control, cost reduction, looking at the elements of cost that is under cost classification, and then discussing the issues about accounting for overheads. That is overhead allocation, overhead apportionment, and then overhead absorption in that case, because under overhead absorption, this is where the concept will be critical when it comes to the preparation of the cost sheet or the cost card under either absorption costing or marginal costing in that case. So you want to make sure that you understand this very well when it comes to dealing with this. So this is not directly in the level 2 syllabus, but you need to understand them. The introduction to management accounting, cost classification, accounting for overheads. If you will not go through anything at all before you're going to understand everything that management accounting has to offer, you need to spend some time to look at these 2 areas: cost classification and then what? Accounting for overheads. Cost classification and accounting for overheads. I see a comment coming in from Benedict Amankwa. He said, why have you stopped live streaming on FR? We have not stopped live streaming on FR. We are still live streaming. But the subjects to cover are many. We have a lot of subjects to cover and a lot of topics to cover. So we're going to be picking and choose what we need to do on the live stream. So we're not going to be doing FR throughout, MA throughout. No, it's not possible because there are a lot of other students who are studying other subjects in that case. So if you want to get full content on financial reporting of me, then you can enroll in the full course online with us. You visit NhyiraPremium.com. The link is in the description. It's also pinned to the chat on the YouTube live stream. And you'll be able to enroll in a course at 390 Ghana cedis. That gives you access to all the lecture videos, the ebooks, and you'll be able to also join our weekly live Zoom sessions. FR like this is on Fridays, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So Benedict Amankwa, that is what you need to understand. Not that we've stopped live streaming on FR, but there are a lot of subjects that has to be covered. Hence, we have to share the time so that we can cover all the subjects briefly. Uche Ijehu said, do you do strategic financial management? Currently, we are not doing that, but we have content on that on our online portal. So currently, we're not really doing that because it's not structured or it's not directly in the ICAG syllabus now. So it's why we have content available on that on our online portal. So you have to understand these introductory issues: cost classification, accounting for overheads, because this is going to be critical and very, very important when it comes to how you're going to pass the examination in that case. Now, ethics is the basics, okay? the accountants and ethics. Remember that ethics has become a very critical issue these days when it comes to accounting, the accountancy profession. Why is that critical? Because of a lot of the allegations, the bank collapse, and all of those issues, and the issues that are happening around the globe. It means that accountants must up their game, and one way accountants can up their game is them being taught what about professional ethics. So if you realize in the new revised ICAG syllabus for 2019, a lot of subjects are going to be having what ethics, and management accounting is one of those subjects. So you're going to be learning the ethical principles, the issue about objectivity, integrity, professional competence, and care, professional behavior, confidentiality. All these will be under the professional ethics. Then also you've got to spend time to look at the issue in relation to the threats to professional ethics, the self-review threat, the self-interest threat, the intimidation threat, the advocacy threat, and then the familiarity threat. So all these things are reading areas that you need to understand for management accounting under the first session with that. Now, when it comes to the models of evaluation, there are a lot of concepts that we need to look at here. The first one that I want to bring to your attention is the difference between cost reduction and then cost control. Cost reduction and cost control. It's something that is critical. Another module that is critical here, sorry, is the balance scorecard. Also critical because it plays a key role in your studies in management accounting. Then Michael Porter's value chain analysis. Another key issue you need to talk about. The concept about TQM, that is total quality management. Then definitely you will talk about throughput accounting. Throughput accounting. And then the concept of activity-based costing. Now remember, as you are doing activity-based costing, absorption costing has to also be done, and marginal costing has to also be done. So that is the concept about some of those things that we need to cover. Now, remember at this level that total quality management is a theory. Total quality management and JET, that is just in time system. It's a theory. Throughput accounting, partly theory, partly calculation. ABC, AC, and then MC are partly theory, partly calculation. The balance scorecard, purely going to be reading aspect, but the examiner could ask you a question about that, where you're going to be using the balance scorecard to assess the performance of an organization, and you're going to be doing both computative or quantitative analysis, as well as some comment or written analysis in that case. So this is the first aspect of the syllabus. It's going to be a huge aspect, and many a times students skip this aspect for some reason. I don't know why, and they jump into other things. They jump to do other things in that case. But you want to make sure that as a student going into the exam hall for management accounting, you understand these basic principles, these basic concepts that underline this aspect of the syllabus. It's just 15% of the syllabus grading, but there are a lot of things here that you need to understand, that you need to focus on in order to increase your chances of passing the examination. That is very, very critical in that case. Now, aside the issue in relation to the contemporary issues, we come to the second one, and that is budgetary or budget and budgetary control. Budget and budgetary control. This is also another critical aspect of the syllabus. Whether I like it or not, there's a question waiting for you there. Now, remember that when it comes to budgeting, you're going to be dealing with the issue in relation to the theory areas. What is budgeting? What is the objectives of budgeting? What are the types of budgeting approach or budgeting systems or budgeting methods or budgeting procedures? You got to be able to understand that. What are the limitations to budgeting? You have to be able to understand that as well, very well. Then the issue about the functional budgets, preparation. How you prepare the functional budget. That is the sales budget, the production budget, the material budget, which will be in both in kilograms or whatever unit of measurement, and then in value, then labor budget. Then we could have other forms of budgets in that case. So all these are functional budgets. You must understand the functional budget, because it is only when we have the functional budget that we can prepare the master budget. Sometimes the cash budget is also seen as a functional budget, sometimes. Other times, it could be categorized as part of the master budget, so that the master budget will become the cash budget, okay? The budgeted income statement, the budgeted income statement, and then the budgeted statement of financial position. So you want to make sure that at this level, now let me talk to you about this real quick. Remember, we are looking at how you can study and pass the management accounting exam ultimately. How you can study and pass the management accounting syllabus ultimately. Eric Boabe is saying, sir, please, how much is per paper face-to-face? Per paper face-to-face level 2 is 525. And level 3 is 575 per paper face-to-face. But online is 390 across all levels. Asimeni Williams, good evening. I hope that you are doing well. If you have any questions, I see some of you guys joining. We're looking at management accounting and discussing a couple of issues when it comes to management accounting. So comment in the chat box any questions you have for me, what you would want me to share my thoughts on real quick for you. So remember that, now I've not finished the syllabus structure, but this is very critical. Let me bring it in real quick. Your exams, listen carefully to this. Listen carefully to this. Your exam is going to be in two folds. On one side, you're going to have written or comment questions. Then you're going to have computations, or if you want, quantitative questions. Depending on how excited the examiner is about the exams, you may have theory of 40% and calculations of what? 60%. So one of the key ways to pass management accounting is to make sure that you have read the theories well. So you take time to read thoroughly, okay? Thoroughly all theories. That is one of the critical ways that will guarantee that you pass your exams. Because even if the examiner is not excited and there is a written or comment questions for 35% or say even 30%, that is still going to be huge. Now, when we say written or comments, it means that the examiner could ask you a question to explain something, state the advantages of something or something like that. And then he will be able to also ask you other analysis questions where you are supposed to write a report or do something in that case. So that is the issue there. So you want to make sure that as you are preparing yourself for the examination, as you are strategizing yourself for the exams, please, to pass management accounting, theories and written aspects is going to be critical. So as you are doing calculation, because hardly do I see students reading management accounting theories, hardly. I pound this every time, I talk to my students every time, but hardly do you really see students preparing notes on the theories. Every time they are solving questions on budgeting, on standard costing and variance analysis, on whatever other issues in that case. But the main thing that you need to understand as a student is that management accounting is going to have 40%, if the examiner is excited about the exams, of written and comment question. To pass the exams, you want to make sure that the same proportion of time that you give to the computation aspect, make sure you allocate an equivalent time of that proportion, of that same proportion, to the theories. And make sure that you read the theories, make sure that you go through them, make sure that you understand what you are reading, and make sure that you work on your handwriting, on your expressions. Because sometimes in class, I ask students questions and they are like, yo, Nhyira, I know it, but the way to put it, it's becoming difficult for me. Now, then I say this, that if you know something, but you cannot put it in writing, technically it means you don't know it. Okay, you don't know it well. Because if you know something really well, words will come. You will be able to form them up. Now, yes, there could be grammatical issues, there could be spelling issues, there could be horrible handwriting. But at this level, one of the critical things you need to do as a student is to make sure that you work on some of these things. Your grammar, your handwriting, your spellings, your punctuations, all of these things must be on point. Must be on point, because some of you, your handwriting alone can scare us, right? Can scare the examiner away or the marker away. So you got to make sure, you want to make sure it is not enough solving questions. It is not enough reading the books. You need to ask yourself, how is my handwriting? How is my grammar? And polish that gradually. It's not going to be an overnight success. It's not just going to be happening because you started doing it, but it's going to happen because you committed yourself to do it and do it well. So that is one thing you need to understand about how to pass the management accounting exams. The structure of the exams: 40% written or comment questions, 60% computational or quantitative questions. So to increase the chances of passing the examination, in as much as you spend time to do the calculations, spend the same time to do the theories. Very, very critical. So the second aspect is budgeting and budgetary control, like I mentioned a moment ago. So you want to make sure that now budgeting and budgetary control, like I said earlier, has a lot of theories in there that you must make sure you understand. So because there are times where the examiner will be excited about the exams, and when he's excited about the exams like that, he's going to shock you, where there will be no computation, but there will just be theory questions on budgeting and budgetary control, because it's a huge area, has a lot of things in there that you need to understand. So please take note of that and know how to deal with that. Then aside budgeting, the next thing there that we need to talk about will be management decision-making techniques. Management decision-making techniques. That is also 15 marks or 15% of the syllabus grading. This is where we talk about the standard costing and variance analysis. Okay, standard costing and variance analysis. So technically, that is what this is about. Standard costing and variance analysis. So here, you got to be careful, because if you look at the syllabus, you will not see the basic variance in the syllabus, but you want to make sure that you understand the computation of the basic variance. That is the direct material price variance, the direct material usage variance, the variable overhead variance, fixed overhead variance, variable overhead expenditure variance. Then we have the efficiency variance. We'll look at that later on. Then there are the advanced variances, like issues in relation to the mix, the yield, the material price planning variance, and the material price operational variance. And certainly there are other ones that you need to look out for and know when to use what. Because it's one thing to understand the concept. It's one thing to understand the calculation, because here a lot of people chew formulas and put the formulas in their brain. Please, you don't excel in this thing by chewing any formulas, but it's about the application of the concept, application of the principles. That is why I mentioned that when it comes to management accounting, there are conventions and then there are what? Principles. To be able to pass the exams, you must understand the conventions and the principle, and not necessarily chewing some facts, chewing some formulas, and try to regurgitate that into in the exam or onto your examination paper. So you want to make sure that that is the third aspect, standard costing and variance analysis. Whether you like it or yes, there is a question waiting for you in the exam hall, and you should be in a position to be able to answer that hands down. Then from there, we come to short-term decisions. We come to short-term decisions. Short-term decisions are also very critical aspect. This is 20% of your syllabus grading, and there are a lot of things that you're going to be looking at here about short-term decision making. Very, very critical. So this is where you're going to be looking at issues such as relevant costing analysis, okay? You're going to be looking at issues like break-even analysis. You're going to talk about the concept of limiting factor analysis. You're going to be talking about issues in relation to pricing decisions. Pricing decisions, you're going to talk about that because that is also something that is critical in that case. Make or buy. Outsourcing. And shutdown. So all these are the various short-term decisions that we have that you must understand in that case. I see a question coming in. Do you, I think, have tips on how to summarize the management accounting theories? Yes, the way you summarize the management accounting theories is to have a notepad, okay? A notepad, or how do we call it? Or a dedicated diary or notebook where under every topic you write out the key definitions for keywords. Like when it comes to budgeting and budgetary control, we have what is called methods of budgeting. So we have the activity-based budgeting, the zero-based budgeting, the incremental budgeting. So what is that at the end of the day? One-liner definition has to be written down, and it has to be something that you can relate with. Okay, so that is how you write it down, because management accounting has a lot of things, but it should be able to write one-liner definitions, one-liner definitions, one-liner definitions. So that is how you'll be able to summarize the theories. But then now, when you pick the theories that you summarize one after the other, it could be expanded or open up, and then you'll be able to have other things in that case. So that is something you need to understand. So if you ask how you summarize management accounting theories, when you are, as you are learning all the theories that are coming up, write them down somewhere else. 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 So you will have a book dedicated to all the theories, not in detail, like in detail, but their one-liner definition, one-liner. Maybe it's advantages or disadvantages of something. All you do is write the one-liner definition down. Write the one-liner definition down. Just a simple sentence in that case. Then make sure you understand the concept, and then you can use any memory or learning technique that I've shared over in the past to be able to recollect what you have studied so you can increase your chances of passing the exam. Any other questions for me? Any other questions for me? So these are the things you're going to be looking at under short-term decisions. These are the things you're going to be looking at under short-term decisions: relevant costing analysis, break-even analysis, limiting factor analysis, pricing decisions, make or buy decisions, and then outsourcing or shutdown decisions. Remember, you're going to be using the concept of marginal costing here. So everything you see here, you are going to be using what? The marginal costing concept, with the exception of the pricing decision sometimes. You're going to be using the marginal costing principle. You're going to be using the marginal costing principle. That is the concept there. That is the concept there. Because if you are making if you are deciding on a make or buy, you have to have that. What are the factors you have to consider? If you are making a make or whether to make the product in-house or buy it from outside, you would have to look at what? This marginal costing principle. So the marginal costing principle is actually going to be the bedrock for a lot of the short-term decisions that you need to understand. Then from there, you come to long-term decision making. In a simple language, that is just about investment appraisal. Again, there are theories here when it comes to dealing with the issue about investment appraisal. Okay, Franklin Deck is saying, for the short-term decisions, what about high or low and shadow pricing? High or low method is actually something that is under, that could be covered under limiting factor analysis. That is why I did not say it again, but it is something that could be covered under limiting factor analysis. And I have limiting factor analysis here because shadow pricing usually comes in about limiting factor analysis. High and low is a basic concept. Listen carefully. High and low is a basic concept that can be used in the determination of the variable cost per unit. And that is applicable when you're doing absorption costing, when you're doing marginal costing, when you're doing budgeting, even variance analysis, the high and low method can be used. So the high and low is not something on its own, but it's a method, it's an approach, it's a concept, it's a principle that you use in order to derive or make a certain decision. So these two things, shadow pricing is under limiting factor analysis. High and low is also a concept that can be used in various topics as far as we are dealing with management accounting. Any other questions? If you have any other questions, you put it down real quick. Okay. So when it comes to investment appraisal, what are we looking at? The methods that you got to look at the stages of capital budgeting process. All right. Then you're going to look at the differences between For profit making and not for profit making. Profit making and not for profit making. If these two organizations are making, or these two types of businesses are making decisions, how do they go about it? How do they contextualize it? That is very, very critical. That is very, very important in that case. So you want to make sure that you understand that, you spend time to look at that very, very well. Then the various appraisal methods, okay? The accounting rate of return, the payback period, the discounted payback period. We're going to have the issue in relation to net present value, and then internal rate of return. Internal rate of return. So all these are investment appraisal that you need to understand as a student in that case. So these are the key areas that you need to focus on in order for you to increase your chances of passing the exams. Then the last one will be performance evaluation. Performance evaluation. Now, this aspect of the syllabus is divided into a couple of categories. We have the concept of divisionalization. We have the concept of transfer pricing. And we have the concept of performance measurement. This is where, like I said earlier, the balance scorecard could be shining here. So under the performance evaluation or performance measurement, there are also two things that we can have for the entity as a whole, evaluating the performance of the entity, or evaluating the performance of the various divisions within the organization. Using the ROI, return on investment, RI, residual income, and then ROSI, return on capital invested or capital employed in that case. So these are the things you need to understand. That is also 20% of your syllabus grading, 20% of your syllabus grading, and it is a huge aspect. This is where the balance scorecard can again be called on for you to be using it to assess an organization's performance. Any questions, please? Any questions? So how do you pass the MA exams? Make sure that you read thoroughly all the theories. Make sure that you read thoroughly all the theories. That is very, very critical. Very, very critical. We cannot overemphasize that. You want to make sure that you read that very, very well. Now, so once you know the syllabus structure and you know the exam structure, the key thing you need to ask yourself is, what are the basic conventions? What are the basic principles we need to understand? What are the basic principles and conventions that we need to understand? That is very, very critical. We cannot We cannot overemphasize that. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to be concluding around here today on the live stream. And God willing, tomorrow we're going to be touching on the basic principles and conventions, where I begin the journey in management accounting, touch on few key issues, we solving some questions, and then most importantly, understanding the concept by ourselves to really pass the exams. All right, so that is it about what you need to look at about the syllabus overview. Just want to share that with you today. And then God willing, tomorrow, we're going to be starting the discussion and going into detail on the various assumptions, various conventions that we need to use in management accounting. So comment in the chat box with any questions that you have for me, and I'm going to be replying to all of them. Remember that we are in the third week for our lectures for the ICA May 2021 exams. So you can register at NhyiraPremium.com for 390 Ghana cedis and only, and be able to study directly under my mentorship for the exam. So that is what you need to understand about that. And since there are no other questions, I'll be signing off here today. And God willing, tomorrow I'll see you same time as we continue with our discussion.